Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 16 of the Girls Lounge with Liz and KT. We are back and we have a good episode today. But before we talk about our episode, make sure that you like and rate our podcast on Spotify, Apple, whatever you are listening on. We love the support. So come on, support us, manifesting all of our dreams right now. But before we get into the topic of our episode, Kennedy, what have you been up to?
I've actually been up to something surprisingly. So, obviously, it is like the beginning of August. That means sadly summer is coming to an end. So, I actually saw some friends like last week, I think. Yeah, it had to be last week because today's Monday. And we just went shopping, played pickleball, had some food. So, just a very chill hangout. And then yesterday, I actually had a B-Day dinner. My birthday's on August 15th, so the Thursday that this is posted. But I had like a pre-dinner before with my family because obviously on my actual birthday, we're not gonna be able to do anything because my dad will be working. So we just went to this Italian restaurant in Louisville and then to this other place to get some dessert. It was a vibe, really good food. I got like a ham and ricotta pizza, and it was so good. I was like, I will be back. And then today, I got my hair done, and I really like it. I got it a lot shorter, and the ends are curly. This is what I wanted my hair to look like last time, but that just didn't happen. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I'm glad my last hairstyle's gone because the long hair, I feel like that's just a lot for the summertime, and I feel like short hair is just like good for the summer and like the transition into fall. So I'm very happy with my choice. So that's all I've been up to. Liz, what have you been up to?
Before I get into my favorites, I just want to say, Kindy, the hair looks so good on you. When I was looking at your private story today, I was like, wait a second, Kitty did her hair. And the length, yeah, the short, like mid-length hair, it's giving. Something about this year and like short hair, the bob, mm-hmm. It's just the moment for the bob. But what have I been up to? So I have been in RA training literally every single day of the week from 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m. So I've just been doing that 24/7. And then this past weekend though, I got to go home. I did work a little bit, so that's okay. But we got our bag up, and then I hung out with my friends and family to yesterday. Yeah, 'cause today's Monday. So yesterday I hung out with some friends and family, which was a lot of fun.
But now we're going to get into our favorites of the week. And I swear, most of my favorites of the week have been food related. Like, I'm just giving big back, I guess. But my favorites of the week is first guac and lime tortilla chips. Y'all, that combo, fire. Like, lime tortilla chips just hit so different. Like if you haven't tried those, this is your sign to go try them. They're really good. And then reality TV, of course. I feel like when I'm always kind of in like a rut of like watching stuff, reality TV is always gonna pull through because it's just like mindless and like a bunch of drama. So it's just super easy to get into versus like a whole show that has like an actual plot and stuff. So I've really been loving my Real Housewives of New Jersey. Um, but then I'm low key like, okay, I kind of want to watch some true crime. So I might watch some of that tonight. But anything that's like true crime or like reality TV series, that's my go to.
No, because Kennedy, the hint of lime chips, don't get me started. Those things are fire. They're amazing. And Kroger, they have Kroger brand of those because back in the day, it used to be just like the Tostitos brand, but now you can get you good old Kroger bag for like $2 of some hint and lime chips. Looks like Kroger's gonna be seeing me after we're done recording. But my favorite of the week is also food related. So, like I said, this past weekend I got to go home, and of course, I had to go to my favorite bakery, and I got an everything bagel croissant, and that thing was fire. It's like a croissant, and in the middle, it has cream cheese, and it has everything like bagel seasoning on top, and it's just the perfect balance of all three things, and it's just literally exquisite. Every time I'm home, I have to go to this bakery and get some. So, that is my favorite of the week.
Now we're going to get into our little sports corner this week. Honestly, I don't have much to say because sadly there's no sports going on. And that led me into I'm in desperate need of a race weekend again. Like, there's been a whole bunch of like content, like the drivers over their summer break doing things, but I'm like, I don't care. I want a race weekend. I just need that feeling again. And where just crazy stuff happens. I have something to wake up to. And yeah, my weekends are just so bored now. I'm like, wow. Who would have thought me a couple months ago? would be looking like, wow, that's crazy. But then also, if you're not a tennis person, the Cincinnati Open it started yesterday and it ends the 19th, I believe. And if you didn't know, me and Liz live in Kentucky, so Cincinnati is like right there for where we live. And I'm so jealous because I'm not there. And so many like I they just have such good players. I don't really know like if it's normally always like this stack, but it's so good. Like literally everyone that I'll be interested in like watching is there. Literally Carlos Alcaraz, Ben Shelton, Francis Tiafoe, Coco Gauff, and so many other people. I'm like, I need to be there. I'm like, surely next year, me and Liz are there. Surely, so we either buy tickets or we get invited. Just putting it out there.
No, because I go to school like near Cincinnati, so I can't even lie. I was looking up Ticketmaster tickets today and I was like, I think I need to go. I think I need to be there. Obviously, like towards the end of the open, it is like a lot more expensive, but like regular weekday, the ticket prices aren't looking bad. So let's just say maybe my update for next week is I went. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, y'all. But I'm just putting it out there.
I say Liz go so she could get a picture of Carlos Alcaraz for me. I need her to hunt him down for me.
I got you, Kennedy. I'll FaceTime you when it happens.
Bet. And then our next segment, pop culture and trendy topics. Me and Liz were actually just texting about this a little bit before the podcast, but it ends with this drama. So it just came out the ninth, I think, something like that. And if you don't know, It Ends With Us is a movie based off the Colleen Hoover book, and it became really popular when everyone was like getting back into reading. It got made into a movie, and we've talked about it before, like the casting and all that on this podcast, have had our thoughts. But with the movie being out now, there's been a lot of controversy over the way that Blake Lively, who plays who plays like the female main character, and Justin something. I don't know I forgot his last name. And he plays one of the main male characters, and he was a director. I think there's been a lot of drama surrounding by it, which I'm like surprisingly, but like not at the same time, because it's like this movie has been had some controversy. But I'll let Liz explain the drama.
So basically, like the whole drama. So for those of y'all who don't know, can you like touch base on this a little bit? But it ends with us is a book to screen adaptation, and the book focuses a lot on like domestic violence. So it's like a very like strong and like prominent like themes for lack of better terms. And so basically, the whole drama is that like Blake and Justin have been promoting the movie very differently. Blake's been promoting it more of a like a rom-com and like just ignoring kind of like the whole aspect of like the domestic violence and everything. And then Justin's been promoting it more like focusing on the domestic violence and like focusing like it's a movie for survivors and everything, like all of this other stuff. So like it's been marketed in very different ways. So I've seen a lot of people like on TikTok, they go and watch the movie and they didn't even like realize like what it was. They thought it was just like a little rom-com or whatever. But then there's also been like tea with like all like the cast and everything, where it's kind of like Blake and the rest of the cast versus Justin, like on a lot of like red carpet things or like interviews about the movie, anything related to the movie. Justin's like not really with the cast. Like any video that you see, Justin's not in it. So it's kind of like what's going on here? And then to add to it, Justin, he was like the producer of the movie. And I don't know if I mentioned, but Justin Baldoni, by the way, from Jane the Virgin, that guy. But he's like the producer of the movie. And then people have been saying that like Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's husband, got involved and like he was saying was kind of what was going. And then like the cherry on top, I saw this one interview where they were asking Justin about like, oh, like what about like the second movie because there's a second book or whatever. And he was like, oh, like there's better like people out there who can direct that or like produce it or whatever. So it's kind of like, like what's going on here? But basically, that's what the drama is with that, at least from what I've seen in my understanding.
Yeah, and I've seen in that specific interview, he was like, "Yeah, I think Blake Lively would be good at it." And I was like, "Is that supposed to be shady, or is he being truthful?" And I'm just seeing a bunch of the same stuff Liz has. I saw where like the whole cast like doesn't follow Justin, and I'm just seeing where people think like it has turned into more of like the Blake and Ryan show because Deadpool and Wolverine. Is that what it is? Yeah, that movie came out. And so it's just been like a lot of them too. And I even saw in the TikTok that Liz sent me, Blake was like, yeah, this movie is meant to be like expiring funny, all that stuff. And then another TikTok I saw, she was like, in a promo, was like, yeah, grab a friend, wear florals to this movie. Like, the way Blake promotes this movie is very much like happy rom com vibes, which I'm like, where are people getting rom com vibes from this movie? I don't remember no type of comedy in this. So that's definitely interesting. And you can just tell really how much Justin Baldoni, one of those, how much he really cares about the message of this movie. And I'm like, I don't think Blake Lively like doesn't care about the themes of this movie, but I'm thinking like maybe to her it's just like another movie, if that makes sense. And to Justin, he really, really cares about the message more than anything. And maybe it was just, two different approaches. I don't think neither are probably necessarily right or wrong, but just two different approaches, two different people. And if there is a sequel, maybe Blake Lively will do it. But yeah, those are all my thoughts on it. Liz, do you have any other thoughts about the drama?
Basically everything you said, Kennedy. I just think it's weird how like they're marketing it very differently because I feel like that would have been like a thing where like, they all agree to market it the same way. And let's just say it's like really showing the whole marketing when people are showing up to theater and they don't even realize that it's a domestic violence movie or like that's like a prominent theme throughout. So I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. Also, side note, I've barely seen Colleen Hoover like promoting this movie, I feel like, but maybe I just like don't see her on like my stuff.
Same. I don't think I've honestly have really gotten much promo about that movie, to be honest. And then our next topic, Shawn Mendes new songs. Now a lot of you guys are probably like, wow, I forgot about Shawn Mendes. I did too. I know Mans was going through it for a long time. Like I know he dropped that last album and then he like was like going to he was like going to go on tour, but then like he was going through a lot of mental issues. I don't know. He has been going through it. But I remember seeing a couple of days ago he posted, okay, I'm gonna drop a new song on the 8th, and I totally forgot about it. And then on like the 9th, I saw it, and so like, okay, I'm gonna listen. I thought he was dropping one song, but he dropped two songs, Why, and Isn't That Enough? And I listened to them, and I actually like Why. But also in that song, I think it was Why. There was a lyric that really stood out to me, and it had me shook. And it says, "I thought I was about to be a father." I said, sir, did we have a pregnancy scare? Like that really caught me. And he was saying how like he wasn't ready to be a father and like he was really scared. Like he still calls out for his mother, like he still feels like a kid. And I'm like, not to be in your business, but like who did you have a pregnancy scare with? I assume Camilla, just because that was like his last very public relationship. But I'm like, very interesting. Could you imagine Shawn and Camilla having a baby? I think I would have fell to my knees in Walmart.
No, because I don't even need to imagine. For those of y'all who don't know, me and Kennedy are very much not Camila stans, to put it nicely. We just don't really vibe with her. If you know, you know. But I haven't listened to the songs yet, but I have seen this like clip of the song on TikTok, and sir, like what? And it most definitely is with her. Like, oh my gosh. Also, can we talk about the fact that she's like back with him low key, apparently? I know you've seen like the where they were spotted at the Olympics together. Yeah, Kennedy. That was my exact reaction. But they were like spotted at the Olympics together. I just think it's very convenient that she wants to come back around when he's dropping music, when she's low key irrelevant. That's just my opinion. You can tell how me and Kennedy kind of feel about her. Anyways, let's not talk about that. Her. I'm sorry.
And her career flopping while we at it. Like, who is listening to her music? Because I know it ain't me. Everybody raise your hand if you're listening to Camilla's new music. Crickets. No one raised a hand.
And let's just move on to some better themes, better conversations. We wouldn't want to focus on the negativity here in this podcast. So, what are we watching? So, for me, I've been watching some rom-coms. If you know me, you know I'm a rom-com girly, especially like the early rom-com movies, like early 2000s. They just did them right. But next up on my list is Love Rosie. I actually started it last night, and this is my favorite rom-com of all time, y'all. I love this movie. I can rewatch it so many times. I got other favorites, but this one's like a top three for me. So I'm gonna be rewatching that. That's what I've been rewatching or watching. Yeah.
I remember I watched Love Rosie for the first time during quarantine, and I was so frustrated watching that whole movie.
See, the frustration, it also frustrates me, but I get over it because, I look at other parts of the movie, it just adds to the suspense, to the character, to the narrative. But anyways, what have you been watching?
That's a valid take. And honestly, I haven't really been watching much. I mean, except for like reality TV. But that's not much to say. So for my video essay girls, I watched two this in the past couple of days, and they're pretty interesting. So the first one I watched, okay, this is very weird. Like, why would I watch a 3 hour video about the American Girl dolls? I don't know, but I did, and it was called "The Weird Politics of American Girl Dolls." And it was very interesting actually because it's coming from the angle. So recently, I think there might have been some controversy over some recent things that American Girl doll has put out, and some conservatives were mad about it. So the whole video was basically like going back through everything to see like when has American Girl doll ever really been political? Like, have they ever taken a political stance, like ever? And so that was like very interesting because like obviously American Girl dolls like why they've been made popular is they have a main line of dolls that are historical characters, and they have a book, and it's a way to connect young girls to history while making it fun. So that was a really interesting video. So the second thing I watched was a video called Feminization of Sports. And it was good, but like I thought she was gonna talk more about WAG culture like the whole video, but she did it. Well, she did like a little part, but then I was watching, I was like, wow, am I just like every other person? Because she was basically talking about how like more female fans have become fans of like certain sports and how wag culture has grown. And literally, she literally did it in the order that I got into sports again, the same sports I'm into now. She said, yeah, first the popularization of tennis, and then she talked about F1, well, more generally motorsports. I'm like, wow, am I like every other girl right now? But it's okay though. If you think that would sound interesting to you, then you should check it out. But yeah, that's all for what I am watching. So now on to the song of the week. So my first one, this is an old song, but I get all my music through TikTok. And, sometimes it'd be a little delayed when I get onto songs because I don't seek out songs. I let songs find me. Okay, I'm like a philosopher. JK. But so my song is Bon Appetit by Katy Perry featuring Migos, which I've learned that people don't like this era of Katy Perry. I think the song came out in 2017 or like 2019, but I'm like, I thought this song was a vibe. Like, it's a cute little dancing vibe. So I'm going to play a little bit of it for you guys. So as you can see, it's just like a very fun, like summer song, I feel like.
My song is the complete opposite of Kennedy's vibe. Earlier today, Kenny sent a message in like our group chat with our friends, and she was like something about like driving on like the curvy roads makes me like puts me in a country mood. And I agree, Kennedy. I have to agree something because like whenever I drive back home and drive back to school, there's this part. Kennedy knows exactly what part I'm talking about, where it's like the curvy roads and everything. And I just put shuffle on my country playlist. So this is the song that I was listening to this morning that just like I had to like replay it like 2 times. But it's Oak Island by Zach Bryan.
And now we're going to be getting into our topic of the episode. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this episode, but we're basically just going to be talking about transitioning from girlhood to womanhood. And I kind of broke this down between talking about our girlhood experience, when the transitioning phase started, like when we started to notice more changes, and then how we feel now in our early 20s. I mean, we obviously still have a long way to go because I'm 20, about to turn 21, and Liz is 21. So we still have some years to go, but I think even within these couple of years, we have definitely learned and experienced a lot. So I'll let Liz take it away.
Okay, so this first part, like Kenny said, we're gonna talk about the girlhood experience. I'm not gonna lie, when I was doing this outline before, when we were like me and Kenny were talking about like the topic of the episode, I was like, oh yeah, this will be so easy to talk about. And then when it got to like sitting down and actually like putting my thoughts into words, I don't know if it was just me, Kennedy, or if you had this too. I struggled so much in like putting my thoughts into words. Like the amount of times I would like type something and then like backspace it because it just wasn't making sense or it wasn't like coming out the way I wanted it to. I don't know if you had that experience too, Kennedy, when you were working on your outline.
Yeah, I did. For me, the transitioning and where I'm at now was a lot easier to think of words. But for some reason, girlhood, I was like, I don't even know how to describe it. Because it was like, it was very typical, but like at the same time, it was like different. I don't know how to say the words. I mean, you'll like understand more as we both describe it. Because from what I see, like it feels like we can have like similar opinions and feelings, but it's just hard to put it into words.
Exactly that, Kennedy. So I want to apologize ahead in advance if like my thoughts are just not working and my words aren't wording. But anyways, so the girlhood part that I kind of had, I put that growing up I loved playing with like quote unquote like girly things. And like what I associated with that was like dolls, like American Girl doll. When I got my American Girl doll, I was the happiest person. I remember I would get like in the mail like American Girl doll like magazines, and I would circle everything that I wanted and I would just give it to my mom, and like she would look at me and be like, "You're not getting any of that, you know? Like that's too expensive. You're not getting any of that." But the year I got my American Girl doll for Christmas, I was like the happiest person because I remember I had like pink glasses back then, and my doll also has pink glasses. I still have my girl. She's in my closet and everything. My girl, acting like I got a person locked up, bruh. Anyways, my doll is still in my closet at home. But like I always like really resonated with like the quote unquote like the girly things or like the girly like toys. So like dolls and like Barbies, Polly Pockets. Memory unlocked this now. But like all of those types of things, like I always like really associated with them, and I feel like growing up, I would always play with them with like my sister and like my two best friends and everything. So I feel like in that sense, I had that like quote unquote like girly childhood experience. But at the same time, I didn't feel like a super like girly girl type thing. Like I wasn't like the kind of person. This is very like stereotypical, I feel like. But like the wearing pink and everything and like having bows in your hair and all that kind of stuff, like I didn't really have that like experience, and I didn't really like resonate with that in a way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like in the sense of like as I got older, like when it wasn't like my mom getting me ready, but it was me getting myself ready, I kind of felt like it was like in the sense of I didn't really resonate with like the super like getting ready every single day, like putting on like all those like pounds of makeup on you and like trying to like look super presentable. I haven't really like felt like I resonated with that, and I'll like talk on later on about this how that's kind of like changed a little bit. But like overall, I feel like my girlhood experience has been like a pretty good balance. It wasn't like that super like stereotypical like girly girl type thing, but at the same time it did have that like aspects of that, if that makes sense, while like not at the same time. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's what I kind of like came up with when I was thinking of this.
Yeah, I can definitely relate a lot to that. Like, I feel like I don't know, like I kind of struggled a bit with like feeling like a girly girl, but in the way of like play with like dolls and all that stuff. Like I was always interested in the girly things, but like I think for me, I always just felt so much more younger and like childish than like other people my age. And I specifically think towards like middle school. Like sixth grade, like for example, like these other girls, you know, their hair is all done nice, wearing like cute outfits or whatever. Then like I'm showing up with my bootcut jeans and my justice top, you know what I mean? And like not to sound like a pick me, but I felt like growing up I never resonated with a lot of the mainstream girly things, quote unquote. Like I never really cared about making sure my nails were done all the time and didn't really like wearing dresses. Didn't really care about putting on makeup. And I do now kind of that I'm older, but still not really. I do want to get into like having my nails done more and like a little bit of makeup for like when I go out. But like little me or younger me was just not worried about that for real. And even now I'm not, but like I think seeing everyone else kind of get into that stage of their life made me think like, oh, like should I be into that stuff now? Like it's time to put the dolls away, sis, and start doing your makeup or something. And I think when I was younger, like so many other kids, like I was just scared to grow up. Like I think all of us when we were like in elementary school were like, yeah, by like 18, I'm gonna have a boyfriend of like a couple years, and then when I'm 21, I'm gonna get engaged and married, and then I'm gonna have 3 kids by when I'm 25, because when I'm 25, I'm gonna be super super old. And so I don't know, just like scared to grow up just because of my own fears, because of the unknown and what society tells us. Because, you know, they be trying to tell us that, like, once you hit a certain age, especially as a girl, that your life is just kind of over. And that is not true.
Kennedy, you like perfectly put into words everything that I was feeling. And I feel like I definitely agree with like the feeling like childish compared to other people. Like I feel like there was people our age who were just like growing up so fast. And keep in mind this is like middle school, y'all. Like that's when I kind of like started noticing things. And I'll get into that into the next section. But also the society like standards and everything and like the what really stuck out between what you said, the like when you're 25-year old, like that part, that was I feel like the like mindset of like, oh, like you have to like have your kids by then and everything, and it's crazy to think how like that's changed overall. Our next little section is the transitioning phase, which I think is like the perfect little segue. So, this is like when we notice things like kind of changing, and we kind of talked about it in our like childhood experience. So we're gonna go into a little bit more depth. So for me personally, I feel like the when I started to notice like the changes was in middle school. Kind of not really middle school, but I feel like for sure like middle school segueing into high school when I noticed like people like actually like dressed up for school. Like they put in effort. And here I was rolling out of bed 15 minutes before I had to leave and everything, you know. Like I didn't really care, like especially freshman year. And then there's these girls who would show up like full face of makeup, ready to go, like a stylish outfit, and I was like, aren't we the same age? Like, what's going on here, type thing. Anyways, we're gonna skip on a little bit, and I feel like that was like the first moment when I kind of like noticed that transition, and then the second time when it hit me, the transition was when I turned 18. I had a little breakdown, y'all. Like, I remember when I turned 18, I was like, I went out to eat with my family, and I can't even lie, I think I was like holding in tears the whole time. Like I just wanted to cry and I didn't know why I wanted to cry. It was like such like a weird moment for me. I remember like if you look at the pictures from when I turned 18, you can kind of tell like my eyes, I'm like kind of like holding in some tears or something. Like it was I feel like that's the moment when it was like I'm no longer like a little kid anymore, you know? And it just I like all my emotions kind of like came together and collided and that was the moment when I was like damn, bruh, like what, you know? So that happened. And then I feel like another kind of like point where I kind of noticed like the change was when my body kind of started to change and just trying to like struggle to like accept that and like how different clothes fit on me now. 'Cause like the clothes that fit me like a year ago or something weren't fitting me anymore and it just didn't make sense to me like what was wrong, you know? Like it's supposed to fit me. Why isn't it fitting me? Or like it fit, but it didn't fit right, you know? Because there's like changes in my body. So I feel like that was one thing that like really struck out to me as like I'm no longer a little girl anymore. Like what is going on here, you know? And then just that idea of not being a little girl and being in that awkward phase of like the in between where like you're not a woman yet, but you're still treated like a little girl, but you're not treated like a little girl anymore because you're older and you should know better, you know? And it's just at that awkward stage of like coming into terms with all of those changes that really stuck out to me and just feeling like in a limbo of not fitting in with either side and struggling to come to terms with that while at the same time like wanting to be comfortable in your own skin. I feel like all of those like moments is when I like noticed that transition for me.
Wow, Liz, you was bringing up some good stuff. I honestly wish I could like talk more about my awkward stage, but them years were so rough. So like I don't really like think about it. So it's just like not in my mind. I can't think about it. But the point about like the birthdays, like I used to like struggle so much on my birthdays for the past couple of years because just like I just struggled so much with that idea of growing up. Like I legit cried every birthday. Like I think I cried my last birthday too, but it wasn't related to like me growing up, so I call that still a win. Um, so it's just like so that was like my first birthday that I literally didn't cry about growing up, but just had like anxiety about it and just be down on myself because how it would be, I like get on myself because I'm like, wow, another year has changed or another year has went by that I've gotten older. And what have I done? What have I accomplished? Nothing. I thought it probably got even worse towards like the last years of high school and probably early college. But anyways, And then like the awkward stage when you like you're not like a little girl but you're not an adult, that really got me because I just truly did not know how to act, and honestly I was very childish for the longest time. So for me, I feel like I went through this like a lot later. Like you said, 18, girl, I don't even think I realized this stuff until like a year ago. When I freshly turned 20, and like for me, I felt like I was very much stuck like at that age when COVID started mentally. Like I was just stuck in like my 17-year-old mind for so long. So I just feel like I was like slow to realizing things and like changing. Like I don't know, it was like a very weird time. But I just wanted to be a teenage girl forever, for real. And then suddenly I would say honestly within like the past like year or so when I've noticed changes and when things have kind of changed in my mind and I kind of have just like accepted growing old and just I'm becoming a woman now, you know, kind of have to mature a bit more. And I think that I thought in order to grow up, I would have to like, you know, let go of my childlike tendencies and interests, but I realized you can still have a young spirit. So I think that helped me a lot. Like, for example, being a fangirl, like I used to be so like hush hush about it. Like I used to think like okay, like I need to leave all that stuff in middle school and high school. Like that is just so childish. But like I feel like TikTok and like definitely having friends, Kelsey and Liz that are also fangirls like me really helped us. Like, no, we can still be like in our 20s and fangirling. Like, you know, it's just life. Like we have our interests. It's whatever. And then I think just honestly just seeing like old people just like who are just very old but are still very youthful. I'm like it is very much possible. And then I think a part of me kind of like just having just a way later like time realizing all these changes is me not having the typical college experience for my last teenage years because it's like how am I not going to be a teenager anymore when I haven't had any of these teenager experiences that people keep telling me I'm supposed to have and look forward to have and like people keep pushing me to also have. So I think that played a lot into it as well. Like going to parties and yada yada yada. I never did that, so I'm like, okay, so then what were my teenage years? And it kind of had me second guessing when like honestly like I don't really regret anything. Like I think everything happens for a reason and my life played out for a certain reason because I truly believe if my life went a different way, I probably wouldn't have this podcast. Probably wouldn't be into YouTube videos, into everything else that I'm into. So I'm happy with the way it played out, but it just took me time to realize it because I was just like, did I waste my teenage years? Like, what's going on?
Yes, Kennedy, the like typical like last teenage years. If you haven't listened to our in our single girls era part 1 and part 2 episodes, you should totally check those parts out. But just like things that we talked about in there that like people like quote unquote like say like you have to have it in your teenage years and just like not having those experiences kind of like, it like stuck out in those type of things like you like oh like you didn't have that so you didn't have that normal like teenage year or like girlhood experience and everything but like everyone's girlhood is different, I think that's important to point out. And then also the birthday thing, yeah, like only recently have I like actually enjoyed celebrating my birthday. Like I remember I hated celebrating my birthday. Like my mom would ask me like, oh, what do you want to do? And I would just be like, oh, I don't really know, like just go out to eat, like keeping it simple. Like I hated celebrating my birthday so much, and only recently have I like actually like enjoyed celebrating it, which kind of like shows you like even then like the transitioning and the changes that like continue to happen and everything. But now we're gonna get into our last part of this segment. So us now. So we've talked about the childhood, we've talked about the transition, and now we're gonna talk about us because I mean we're still like young, we're still in our like early 20s and everything. So maybe in the future we do another part to this with like after the 20s or something like that. But for me, I would say that it's been a phase of just trying to come to terms with like all of the changes, whether that be like emotional or like physical changes, and like focusing kind of like on the physical, just like all of those changes that have even continued from like high school to like now. And I kind of learned this like on TikTok how like women go through like a puberty like 2.0 later on where it's like you're transitioning from that like childhood body into like your like adult and like womanly body and everything. And like only recently did I learn about that. And it's like coming to terms with like those physical changes that are continuing to happen in my body is like really like something to just like come to terms with. Like it just continues to happen now. I guess it's hard being a woman out here. But just coming to terms with that, I feel like it's been me in my 20s recently. And then also just like having that emotional connection to the childhood. Like just because I'm not a childhood, just because I'm not like in that era of my life anymore, it doesn't mean that like I don't like identify with things from there or like carry like the good from that moments in my life to like now. Like it obviously like impacted me in a lot of ways. So just like having that emotional connection to that and then while also like learning to like live in the present and not like rushing to the future. Because I feel like at our point in our lives right now, I don't know if you experience this, Kennedy, but I feel like it's always like a pressure of like the future, the future, the future. Like what you're doing now is going to affect your future so much 24/7. I feel like that's being thrown at us. So just coming in terms of like living like in the present and like experiencing and like, letting the experiences like settle in. And then I would say that I've learned to be very appreciative and focused like on the present, kind of like going off that. And then just like being able to see a lot of like the strong like female relationships in my life, whether that be like my mom, like my aunts, like female role models that I have, and even like my best friends and everything. Just like learning to appreciate all of those relationships because they like allow me to like better myself and just come to terms with like a lot of different things. And overall, I feel like I'm still in that limbo that I talked about, except the limbo is now like this awkward phase of like I'm an adult and I'm still like figuring it out while I'm still like learning about like myself more. And yeah, I don't know. That's I feel like where I'm at. What about you, Kennedy?
Yes, I definitely resonate with a lot of what you said. And I liked how you brought up how like you can still have like some type of like attachment to some of the things in your childhood because like for me, I feel like for me that would be like watching like Disney shows and old Disney Channel movies because I used to think like, oh, you can't really tell people that. Like that's kind of embarrassing. But like now I fully embrace it. I'm like, yeah, I watched Lemonade Mouth last night and I loved it. I watched Starstruck. Like it's fine. It really like those movies were great, so why wouldn't I watch it again? Just because I'm 20 years old doesn't mean I just totally have to abandon everything. And I already be thinking like, when I have kids, if I have girls, trust they're getting American Girl dolls, and I will be playing dolls with them, okay? And it won't be weird because I'll have kids, okay? So yeah, I really like that point.
No, because to add on to that, I very much my comfort movie at night, Tangled and Princess of the Frog. Yep, those movies are always playing in my room, and what about it?
Period. And what about it? And honestly, I really like watching old Disney movies to help me fall asleep because it's very calming. And then for me, for my thoughts now. Sorry if I sound like very like if I start getting to like manifesting talk, I apologize. I'm just like really heavily trying to get back into that and like journaling. So that's where like a lot of my thoughts are coming from. But I feel like I'm kinda okay, I put like in my notes that I feel like I'm finally detached from my teenage years. And I'm like, wait, am I fully though? Like I feel like for the most part though, I'm sure in the future, because I'm literally just 20 years old, that I will still have some like feelings about it, like every now and then. But like I forget when, but I just remember this distinct moment when I was in bed and I saw a TikTok about like the whole like girls in their like late 20s or something like still doing the whole like I'm a teenage girl trend. And I was like, wait a second, I actually don't really resonate with a lot of things that I thought felt wanted during my teenage years. I was like, wait, actually, I like where I'm at. Like, I like this whole era of like the early 20s and that there's a whole possibility of so many things. So I think that really helped me out a lot. So if you kind of struggle with that as well, just think like, do you truly really resonate and like feel like your teenage self? Because I know it's so easy to like romanticize things from the past when truly like there were like a lot of things back then that like you have like grown and healed from, and like it's the teenagers, everyone was going through it, you know. So that's like a good tip if you struggle with that. But I was just like, yeah, like I actually like don't resonate with any of these things. Like I'm just gonna stop saying that I feel like a teenage girl because now that I sit down and think about it, I really don't, and I don't want to. I like where I'm at now. And then I realized like again with the whole possibility like okay, I feel like I want to rebrand for my 20s, but like just really like come into myself, um into my adult self, my adult interests and all that stuff. And I feel like my identity and interests are changing in a way. And by identity I mean I think we all have had certain words pushed on us as we were growing up. For me, I would say like shy, maybe boring, yada yada yada. And I'm like, instead of like just letting that be, because I don't like, okay, duh, I can be shy, but like I don't think I'm boring. Like let me stop letting other people define me and just not just take it, like just be yourself, you know what I mean? And I definitely came with some medication and just I think just growing up, but so I really am trying to like, push through that and be like, I want to live a certain way and like have people perceive me the real way. So like lean into it, you know what I mean? And again, my interests are changing. Like, I mean, I talk about all my interests on the podcast, like the sports I'm into, reading, all that type of stuff. Like, I was not interested in that stuff when I was younger, but now I am. And that's just the beauty of growing up. And that segues perfectly into my other point that there's a beauty in aging. Again, like we've talked about a little early, society just pushes on us, especially women, that after a certain point that your life is over, especially as a girl. But it's like, no, there truly is a beauty of aging, especially when you realize so many people our age or even younger who, like, not to be morbid, trigger warning, die and like never had the chance to fully live their lives. But here we are, 20 years old, in good health, and have the means to really take our lives down many different paths. So like just be grateful in that, like it's a blessing to see 20. So many people don't, let alone 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. So like don't let society try to like tell you anything different. And then I'm just really trying to embrace all things about being a woman, health especially. I listened to a good podcast the other day about women's health. I think that's really important because like we truly don't get like good information about that growing up. And there's like so many complex things about a woman's body with like all the hormones and stuff we got going on. So yeah, I really think that's important.
Yes, Kenny, to add on to that, I didn't even think about that. Just like really embracing the things that make it fun to be a woman too. Like when getting ready, like I don't get ready like on the daily, honestly. I'm gonna be honest. I'll do my skincare, but like that's about it. But like just like when I do get ready and like actually try and like do my hair and like put on a little makeup or whatever, it's just like it's so fun to like sit down and do it, especially like when you're with your friends, like on a girls trip and everything. Just the small moments like that, that like the fun things of like being a woman, or like laughing about like certain things and everything, like just really embracing that, because like those moments make it like so worth it through all the pain and the struggles.
And just even trying to embrace maybe the not so good things. I know we all hit our periods, but it's part of being a woman. And I actually, okay, this might sound a little spooky, ooky, witchy a little bit, but there's like this whole thing on social media. Okay, I wouldn't say it's spooky wooky because it's literally just science, but there's actually like different phases of like our periods. And so like there's like certain things. I don't know. I'm still trying to learn about it. I listened to a podcast about it. It's like called cycle syncing, and you can really like change your lifestyle based on like what point of your cycle you're in. So I want to do more research on that because I think that could be very beneficial, especially like with working out and stuff. So if you want to look into that, I know A Better You by Fernando Ramirez did a video about it. So I need to like go and rewatch that because it's really good. And then the Huberman Lab, I know y'all have probably heard of that if you like listen to the podcast at all. He did like a 2 hour episode, which I know was a long time. It took me like 3 days to finish it, all about women's health with like a woman like specialist or whatever, and it was really 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 good. Like there's like different ages and like that we should be doing like certain exercises and stuff, and it was just really good. And I know I'm super young, but I feel like at least at this point in my life I have a clear vision of where I want to be in life, kind of, in a certain aspects and goals that I want to achieve. Obviously this could change, I'm really 20, but like at least for like the near future I have an idea of what I would want to have my life look like. So I think that also, has helped as well. So maybe if you struggle with like, oh, where is my life gonna go? Maybe sit down, think of some goals instead that you would want to accomplish in the near future. And then I've really started to value my female friendships and just female family members because I just, I'm older now. I can understand things more, and I really just see them for more than just, you know, my mom, my grandma, yada yada yada. I really see them more than that. And then, yeah, that was my last point. I will say I am still struggling because I will get offended if someone calls me ma'am because I am not that old. And I still be struggling to call myself a woman sometimes. I be like, yeah, I'm a woman. And I cringe. But I'm like, maybe I should just say, like, I'm a young woman instead of just saying, like, woman. So yeah, those are all my thoughts for today's episode. I really love these type of episodes. It really feels like a therapy session.
No, because I agree. The way I was sitting there and I was just like how do I put all this into words? And I was like, I haven't even thought about this myself, really. It really just putting out all of the emotions and the feelings and everything out into the world for you guys. You guys are like entertaining yourselves with our therapy.
Exactly that. And I hope this helped people listening as well because it definitely helped me hearing what Liz had to say about this topic and just like writing everything down really helped me organize my thoughts and even made me feel a little bit better more than I already had been feeling about, entering this next chapter of our life, especially with us being college seniors. Even though I'm still a little nervy, I'm not as scared.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for listening to the end. If you made it this far, you're a real one. As always, make sure you like and rate our podcast on whatever it is you're listening to because, we're trying to get out there to go to the Cincinnati Open and to all the other things. So just help some girls out.
Exactly what Liz said, and because we want to build a community as well, not just to do cool things. And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.